Me. Oh, that's the sound of a 40-year-old man sitting down. Oh, hi, I'm BoredGamer. How's everyone doing? Oh, I need to tweet. I need to tweet that I'm, you saw nothing. I am live and talking about Star Citizen. Say hi. That's play that one. Why not? Boom. Easy game. Hi, I'm BoredGamer. How you doing? Hope you are well. We're going to be talking about Star Citizen stuff today, as always. Always, I suppose. I mean, at the beginning, we talk about, random stuff. I've had my bathroom done. It's not a euphemism. I've moved in here into my house in the wonderful city of Leeds. Like July, August last year. Been slowly doing bits up with it. I've got the main front room and games room sorted. Got the flooring and painting, redecorating done. Just had the bathroom done for a while because I was like, it's functional. But now I've nice bathroom. Summer Yeti, I hope you're doing well, sir. Lots of love, brother. You and Jay Bird, I have a lot of love for doing your modding duties with less than any praise from me, and I do genuinely appreciate you. You guys are fantastic. Hope you are doing well. Always the same thumbnail. Yeah, it's because it's the live stream. What do you want from me? I don't know what's going to be in the video. It's a live stream. Thumbnail. The thumbnail could change. Be different. It's a live stream from the thumbnail. I could have live stream just written in letters. Oh, that could change to VOD after the live stream. I don't know what you want. I'll tell you what I want. Well, there's like there's a little shutter in front of my camera that goes up and down, and it went down. And I don't want that. No. So I'm interested to know what CIG have got planned for their new referral scheme. Obviously, that's caused a bit of drama with some people. I suppose this is true of all drama, right? Or stuff that's a bit polarizing. Some people care about it, some people don't. Some people are for it, some people are against it. And so we've got this new referral system. We've got CitizenCon announcement. So it's CitizenCon Direct. It's a digital CitizenCon again this year. Might be quite sensible for CIG. It'll make them more money. And they might have less to talk about than they had last year. Just because lots of Squadron 42 stuff's going on, and a lot of the content they're working on, Star Citizen, is going into the game pretty soon. So it's not stuff that, well, some of it's a bit further. Some of it's 1.0 stuff, but a lot of that will just be evolutions at CitizenCon of what we saw last year, and that's probably what they've got planned for their showcase. So yeah, so we'll talk all about that and anything else that people want to talk about. I just put question in brackets and then say whatever, and I'll try and bring it up as a topic or read your question and try and answer it, even if it's just an I reckon. Obviously, I might say obviously, CIG have basically said as well that they, I believe anyway, I think it was a message of the day, and I dreamt it, that 4.1.1 will probably be going to PTU in some form this week. So we'll start with that sort of roughly before I start answering questions and going through chat. Thank you very much for all the kind words, by the way. It's lots and lots of love from people. You don't need to donate or anything to have your question answered or ask a question or whatever. More than welcome to, but it's I'll come to them at some point probably. Any sort of donations or subscribing or the join button usage and Patreoning and stuff like that goes to help support the channel and pay me in sin. But I mean, it's more important for me that people watch videos, turn up and say hello. We're doing reasonably well. We can always do better. I've got some bits and bobs from Thrustmaster downstairs I'm planning to look at. Hopefully later this week. I need my good camera out, and hopefully I'll be replacing this camera. I've got pointing at me at the moment with my proper camera. If I can be bothered to set it up. I'm the most ghetto and lazy of streamers / YouTubers, but I produce content that is easily consumable, and sometimes I make up words. But I hope everyone is doing well. I am talking about Star Citizen, or at least mostly. I mean, so I've been playing a load of 7 Days to Die recently, with Zin, my editor, and our shared mate, Kit, who lives very close to me in Leeds. We're having an absolute blast with that. Very, very interesting, very cool. 4.1. I know that's been with its initial release was pretty bad for a lot of people, stability and accessibility wise, like stuff crashing, desyncing, lots of problems. A lot of hotfixes over the weekend sorted a lot of that out. Last weekend I suppose, and ongoing hotfixes, right? And it's in a significantly better place now. They're still doing more to that, but 4.1.1 is soon going to be the priority again from CIG. It'll be interesting to see what they've actually got planned for that, because part of 4.1.1, sort of during its cycle, assuming they release 4.1.1 at the end of April, right? Part of its cycle in the middle of May is Fleet Week. So is it possible that they delay 4.1.1 until Fleet Week? Is it possible that Fleet Week will come out with its 4.1.2 patch during Fleet Week as like a mini patch, and they won't have an extended event beyond Fleet Week? Yeah, that's all possible, right? But there's obviously loads of ships and vehicles that we know that could turn up, from a heavy strike fighter version of the Mantis to an ATLS combat suit, or at least a civilian outfitted for combat ATLS suit. Stuff like that. And then there's 4 to 7 vehicles. It's hard to tell, because if you read the monthly report, it's sort of it talks about a load of unnamed and variant vehicles and ships they're working on, and based on how you interpret it, there's between 4 and 7 that they're working on that could come to the game pretty soon. Some of which probably be released at the end of April, some of which could be released at the end of May or during Fleet Week, or both. No, obviously not released at both times, but you see what I mean. You see what I mean. I hope everyone was doing well. Board is fluent in Vandal. Is this true, chat? I'm not fluent in Vandal, unfortunately. If I was, I would have been able to decrypt the Squadron 42 message. I get onto the game to chill, and the first thing I always see is either you see, there's a lot of politics in chat. Okay, right. I haven't really encountered politics in chat, although I close chat a lot of the time when I'm recording. Maybe that's why I don't see anything. I appreciate all the kind words from people. Thank you very much, Samiyati. You're a beautiful boy. Genuinely appreciated. Any news on the next system? So, beyond that, we know Clan Imperium are working on it, and they talked about it during CitizenCon, and it makes sense for them from a content-driven point of view to actually build Nix, and potentially a sneak peek in the last newsletter. There's nothing confirmed for Nix beyond that, it's part of 1.0, and clearly the most easy system for them to bring into the game. As part of 1.0. But I'm expecting to see Nix this year. In our hands. I just don't know when. I'm expecting next to nothing out of CitizenCon this year. After the last 2 years, I need deliveries or deliverables before I even want to look ahead again. Okay, I think that's fine. I mean, I think since CitizenCon, they've been getting out quite a lot of content, right? That's a reasonable amount of features, a load of content. I do want engineering in my hands as soon as possible, but it needs to be, in a state that makes sense for them to put it into our hands for testing, right? PG is an inspiration for me. That is genuinely appreciated, but I'm sorry that you can't find anyone more inspired. But everyone's more inspiring than me, right? I suppose it's a low bar to be inspired by. Thank you, I do appreciate it. What do you think the main thing they will be adding in 4.1.1 is? So potentially a new. Depends on whether or not it's tied to Fleet Week, or if the next patch is the one that's tied to Fleet Week, right? So there's lots of stuff going on with the regen crisis, and with like a line of mine and stuff. That's the reason you're trying to get those rare materials. There's sandworm stuff going on. There's the potential for the Nix stuff. It's things like that, right? So something to evolve from that, in addition to new ships and vehicles, in addition to an evolution of some of the missions, and some sort of updates and tweaks and balance to features and ships and loadouts and stuff. And lots of new mission rewards for things, right? I don't think the Ranger bikes are too far away. I would put money on Nyx being this year. I mean, I could be wrong, right? A lot of human ships on the roadmap. While the Sulan was a surprise, while the alien mining, salvaging, and hauling ships. So we're less likely to get pure sort of alien ships for that, although should appear in game at some point, right? Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, a lot of stuff they can do like that, they can do with drones, I suppose. It's all magic beams. You might see some interesting alien hybrid ships, I suppose. They definitely add a load of industrial alien ships at some point, for sure. Money bag still not working on cargo grids. Yep, that's one of the things they're trying to test. Have you tested that in the hotfix branch currently? Because I believe that is literally the thing they're testing at the moment. There's a lid in my bottle. With mining focus, part of 4.1, any chance that they're working on refineries being able to unload to freight elevator system instead of ships? I suspect that they are going to be improving and expanding on the mining and refining gameplay loop relatively soon. I would expect to see things like the Expanse, for example, in game potentially by the end of this year. And yes, as part of that, I would expect that to be addressed. Game, I hope you're well. I hope the crew are doing well. Is the new GPU working out for you? Yes, Tabert, I hope you're doing well, sir. I really like the content and what you bring to the community as well, with more of a, obviously, tech focus and the stuff you do. Yeah, so I absolutely love my 9070 XT. It was a reasonable upgrade. It was a big upgrade, but not a massive upgrade from my 3080. So for a lot of the games I play, it's a significant boost, especially ones that support some of the FSR4 stuff. Like Monster Hunter Wilds was absolutely superb with that card. It was a ridiculous amount of frames extra. Some stuff, like I play Killing Floor 2 a lot, you lose some of the joy in Killing Floor 2 because the 9070 XT, what I've got right, doesn't support the NVIDIA liquid FX stuff, which is really cool in that game. It's quite an old game now, admittedly. But yeah, so for me, it was a reasonably big upgrade at a relatively reasonable price, right? Because graphics cards are ridiculously expensive, and I didn't want to grab a 40 series card or a 50 series card from Nvidia because I was worried about just missing ROPs and cables melting and things like that were the sort of worries I had. In the future, I'll be doing a bigger update. But I've sort of done budget ghetto update in the last year, which is I got a 7950 X3D CPU rather than the 9800s X3D. I was like, oh, I'll go for this one. It's cheaper and it's better for productivity and does mostly what I want, and still being a marked upgrade from my 5950. I got 64 gigs of RAM. Obviously moved over to DDR5. And AM5, and yeah, that 9070 XT, big upgrade from my 3080, much better at higher resolution than Star Citizen. Although I did notice big improvements in 4.0, 4.0.1 in fact, but since then, been a bit of a drop in frame rate, unfortunately. Yeah, since 4.0.1, a bit of a drop in frame rate. Just from Star Citizen in general. Hopefully that'll get addressed. But I hope you're doing well, sir. And thanks for asking. Most online games have a lot of politics in chat. Well, it's in-game. I mean, I like to, I just remain entirely neutral about the subject. I just don't really discuss it on my channel because it's, this is a Star Citizen news channel. And I don't want to discuss anything more than polarizing Star Citizen news, right? Not something that, not something I want to move into. At least not on this channel. Nobody is more inspiring than you. Your content and updates seriously help uplift me in some recent terrible years. I thank you sincerely. I do appreciate that. And I'd say it's... So I have people like that I've watched and listened to that have done similar stuff for me. And I was like, I wouldn't have been able to get past... I wouldn't want to have imagined getting through some of the stuff without just hearing some of these people's voices or podcasts or whatever in the background, or having certain friends or whatever. So I genuinely appreciate that. And I do understand. It's just I've done, I feel like I've done very little to deserve that credit, but genuinely appreciate it. Thank you. Hotfix is a weird one. It seems to not be a hotfix because you can join in the hotfix. And on the hotfix, your friend in live. Oh, I see. I don't know how it works. With the mining gameplay loop being developed, relatively refined, as it were, what do you think CIG will need to do to minables to make them usable for ships like the Orion and the Arastra? So the Orion, is a big one because it's a strip miner, right? And that's basically another level of mining. It's it noms up all asteroids. So is it going to be, it doesn't nom up all asteroids. It can't nom asteroids. It can nom ice asteroids, and you have to mine in certain areas. So we don't 100% know the what the gameplay for the Orion now looks like. It was supposed to be a strip miner. It's probably still a strip miner, right? It probably nom up asteroids and it chucks out a load of the waste, or maybe it doesn't chuck out the waste and you just have to deal with it and refine it slowly or whatever. But there might be some changes there. It is like a magnitude more miney than other miners, so bear that in mind. What I mean is it's effectively a new feature, and it's going to be a while before it's in the game, in my opinion. I can't find the referral page on their website. Bear with me. There you go, buddy. Oh. There's the referral page. If you're talking about the one about the new rewards, that's there. So, well, let's talk about this. So, new rewards, new ladder. Basically, CIG is saying the old referral system, bam, that's going. I'm not. Well, you can see this. You can see this account. Loads of accounts for doing different things. Okay, so let's show this. So, the ranking ladder as well. So basically, CIG is saying 1st of July, new referral system, new rewards, new ladder, starting at 0 again. That was the plan. Okay, that might change a little bit because CIG have basically said we're talking about it internally exactly how we're going to do this. But yes, so basically the referral system is when you someone signs up under your code and then like spends $40 worth of ships or buys $30 worth of ships, they become recruits, and then you earn rewards on this ladder, bam, 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 all the way up to a javelin. Yeah, bam. Now, I have this is some of the highest people on this list. I think I was the first or second person. I think I was the first to get a javelin. Might have been the second, admittedly. I can't remember, actually. Maybe I'm misremembering. However, I was pretty high up there. I've got a javelin on my main account from this referral thing. Some people are going to be upset because they're like most of the way to one of these referral point dubries, yeah, and it's going to start at 0 again. Now, you keep all the rewards you've got here, but you can't gain any more rewards with their current plan on this track. New track. Yeah? Decommissioning the old track. Now, some people obviously have got huge amounts of referrals above 2,000, which is the maximum rewards you can get, and all these will effectively be lost under the current plans. I say lost. Obviously, it's brought joy and love to a lot of people that wanted to use those referral codes. But I am very keen to see just more rewards. And at the lower level. This should not be a thing for content creators. Content creators get supported, or should be supported in different ways, right? The referral scheme is general marketing for, and in my opinion, should be accessible to people that will, over a few years, try and get 10, 20, 30 maybe of their friends to sign up. And they should be rewarded for that. It should be attainable. You might want to have rewards up to 100. Yeah, for that sort of stuff. And beyond that, cool, maybe gives people a little token point beyond the, you get 1,000 UEC or something very small for every referral beyond the maximum rewards. Just something like that. That's what I do. But they basically said, yeah, they want to reward people at the lower end of the scale. Great. They're going to be Squadron 42 and Star Citizen rewards. Cool. I'm excited to see the new stuff. I'm empathetic towards people that are close to another reward but are unlikely to get it. I am not too empathetic with content creators who have loads of referrals above at a certain point. That's just my view, though, and I don't mean to, yeah, it's just my point of view on it. I'm happy to start from 0. I just see it like that. You have to, and if someone else doesn't see it that way, that's also fine, right? Like I'm very still on the fence about it. Like I can't understand that other people are gonna have different points of views on this, and some people are gonna be like, well, I thought I was, just annoyed at loss, right? I get that, I understand. I just think that when 99% of the community are going to benefit from this, that's probably the way to go. When's 4.1.1 coming out? So it's probably going to Eva Carty later this week, and it should be, as far as I understand, out by the end of April, unless they're pushing it back for Fleet Week in May, which is unlikely but possible. Think about that a minute ago. So I've only played a tiny bit of Unsettled. Well, I haven't even played Unsettled. That's a lie. I've watched it be played, and I know the rules. I've got all of Unsettled though. I'm super looking forward to playing it. It's a board game for people that don't understand. A survival, spacey, you've crashed on a planet board game with lots of different planets you can go and do stuff with. Hello. Do you think that this year we'll get the first iteration of base building? I think it's possible by the end of the year we'll have something base building-y in-game. I think it's possible. Do you have an understanding of how the Maelstrom system will work? Only at its very basic level. So Maelstrom is basically the destructibility system in the game, which combines destructible hulls of spaceships, physicalized components, and destructible terrain. I do not know how it's marked up. I don't believe they were going to have terrain deformation in game originally, but that might change as well because they can do it and they have showed it before. And Maelstrom system also affecting structures and stuff in game and ruins would mean that. So my expectation of that would be that they just save the state of something for a period of time and then rebuild it later. Or when there's an update, it sort of goes, and there's been traffic here that's meant that these buildings have changed or these ruins have changed or something. Oh, thank you very much, Bugsy. Credit is due. Ewan's on the highlight of my week. Love the banter and the content. Well, we've got a larger than normal podcast, I think, for today. Well, we'll see how it's been edited. We were talking for quite a while about 4.1 and stuff we're talking about here, but with Zin's point of view as well, and sort of me explaining some bits and bobs. Do you figure that graphics will be more optimized upon release to keep mid-range and older cards feasible on reduced settings? 100%. Yes. So CIG have been optimizing and not relying on DLSS and TSR and stuff like that as well, right, and upscaling. So they will rely on it to an extent, because that is just unfortunately the way the wind is blown. But that should make stuff a lot more scalable. And in general, when there are drivers written for this, when there are significant optimizations made, when the Vulcan's in-game properly, you should see significant improvement, and it should be much more scalable across a lot more hardware. Oh. No, I didn't do. I didn't load up my Twitch chat. Apologies. Referral changes don't affect me. That's good to hear. Well, they might, though, in the future, right? So having a system that's changed now that has more rewards in the future, great. You think we'll see any shows from CIG this week? Last week's no-show was lame. So they basically said that sometimes they're still going to have a hiatus or whatever. I would hope to see some shows and updates this week, yeah. That would make sense, right? But there is less in the way of development to show from each week's Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live at the moment, because of the monthly patch cadence and because of them working along Squadron 42 to get it finished. There's not as much to show and tell from week to week. At least not in the same way. There's a lot more focus on the short and mid term than the long term. Yes, I agree about Free Fly. Do feel the servers perform worse at those times? Often they do, because of the amount of people crammed into a certain area, and they seem to release a patch that required a little bit more testing before release. But yes, so that all of the services and Star Citizen get hammered during a free fly period, especially a very popular period, right? Because people are making accounts, people are downloading the game, people are trying to join their friends on servers repeatedly. So a lot of stuff gets hammered. I think CIG is always viewed as a free max stress test. Yep. Free Fly should be a demo for potential backers. Yes. Eventually 100%. At the moment, it is kind of. Previously, it had been like, look at our cool tech demo. It is playable now, and it's going to be evolving based on your feedback, and you can play it now, and it's cool and beautiful, right? Cool. Yeah, awesome. Now it's getting into the state where they're like, we are making this playable. This is a demo for you. So this year will be the first time they've tried to do that. It is in the middle of them trying to make Star Citizen significantly more playable, and it's still not there yet. It is getting more playable, yeah, but 4.1 showed that stuff breaks hard sometimes still, even if it's just for a week or so. I'm good, Flymo. How you doing, buddy? Love you, Summer Yelly. Love you, Flymo. Good people. Am I modding you here, Sharkbite? Is that what I'm doing? How do I do that? Oh no. Oh. Yeah, mate. Probably what I'm supposed to do. Hey, buddy. sounded like something I was supposed to do. Check layouts, make you a mod. They are. Be good. That's the mod rules. Be reasonable and good. Only get rid of stuff that's clearly super offensive or. Well, I don't mind people light level trolling. I don't mind people asking me difficult questions, and I want people to, even if they're clearly a Star Citizen disliker, I don't want them or dislike something about Star Citizen. I don't want them to feel like they're just being immediately, hated on themselves. Like some people have legitimate criticism, right? Shout by if they delete my progress toward referral, will you pimp my code out? Will I get like 20? So I will. It depends on how the new system works and if there's any small print on that, what we're allowed to do with it. But I'm happy to put load of my community mods and stuff in a referral randomizer or whatever. We'll see. But that would be the plan anyway. Yeah. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you. What else we got? I've lost my position. I'm bad at games. And modding. And streaming. Yes. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, yeah, probably. There was an accept button on my screen with no other text on Twitch. So I've just clicked the X on it. I don't know what that is. I don't know what plus goals are. I can barely read. Let's have a look over here. Pipe trains, cool. What else we got? Any chance the Star Lancer will be available for purchase again for CitizenCon or the IAE? It is possible that it will be on sale again with Fleet Week or 4.1.1 or around that era within the next couple of months, because the Star Lancer TAC is going to be released very soon. And I would expect them to also go, yeah, let's sell the rest of let's sell the other Star Lancer as well. Right? More RGB makes you go more fast. I think it's multiplicative. Oh my god, I couldn't say that. You're my favourite Star Citizen content creator. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. That's genuinely appreciated. I mean, I'm the most prolific, right? And I do appreciate the love. Until when will the Golem be available to purchase in lifetime insurance? I don't actually know. So ship sales sort of are a weird range of 2 weeks to a month, sometimes longer. Do you think we'll see the Genesis, the Starliner this year? They mentioned... Genesis as in... So when you talk about Genesis... Are you talking about Planet Tech V5 effectively? Or are you talking... And within that, I talk about dynamic weather. I'm talking about dynamic weather. Are you talking about something specific, new biomes? Because Genesis kind of has a load of stuff in it, not all of which will be coming at once. But yeah, global illumination, audio wouldn't come until after Squadron 42. At least get Planet Tech or the location. So we will get some Genesis stuff this year, almost certainly. Some of it, so new biomes, some updates to graphics, potentially dynamic weather, or at least more parts of it. Do you think we will see in the game the much needed player org tools and facilities that were detailed last year? We'll see them at some point. I'm hoping we see them this year, hopefully sooner rather than later. They are part of 1.0, so it could be any time. I don't know how far they are along. But they're so important, right? Like, that will elevate a lot of people's gameplay massively. Only red goes to him. That was a very orcish statement. Orc make more Daka. What else? Hello. Thank you very much. Yes, so I am kind of pro the new referral reward system. If CIG want to do something where they have your additional referrals giving you something with the new system, or with this old system, some of it maybe not carrying over, because it's a mixture of people thinking elitism and entitlement in some cases, but a lot of cases it's not, and it's just a polarizing subject, right? I think that content creators get treated pretty well by CIG personally, and what I mean by that is they're not so uplifted by them that they only exist because of them, but they're not entirely ignored. You don't want like a single golden boy or Star Citizen for content creators or anything like that, because controversies happen, people get disenfranchised by stuff, people move on, whatever. So also independence is important, right? Like, I am a big Star Citizen fan, and I'm always going to the way I do Star Citizen news is I talk about the news that CIG are putting forward, and I will tell you what they say, and I might give them my opinions on stuff, but it's going to be typically, not always, pretty positive, because I believe in the product that they're making. I have lots of friends at CIG. I see a lot of stuff from the back end. I've seen a lot of NDA stuff and stuff like that as well. So I'm pretty positive on. I'm bullish on the Star Citizens and Squadron 42. But there's loads of criticisms that I also would levy against the project, with efficiencies in some areas, some stuff they get wrong, especially when it's to do with marketing. Obviously, huge amounts of delays in and feature scope creep, and delays in development, and there's loads of stuff you can criticize, right? But I love the sort of project reports and all. I forgot what I was talking about. I just went off on a tangent. I just do that sometimes. Yeah, I'm sort of quite excited for new rewards for the referral system. Cool. I'll probably get them all at some point, and then I'll or either at the same time or afterwards, I'll, if possible and acceptable, I'll bundle like mods and channel members and Patreons and that sort of stuff into a referral randomizer as well. So like a little freebie. That's my plan anyway. But it'll be interesting to see what rewards they've got, right? Because and the max level of reward. Are they going to go, once you hit 100, well, actually every one above this gives you a little something, or is there going to be 10,000 referrals as a reward? Other thing I want to talk about, CitizenCon. CitizenCon Direct. They're doing another digital CitizenCon. And I think this is actually probably pretty good. From CIG's point of view, this makes it a lot more accessible to more people, because that's a much more concise, focused broadcast, right? They can do something like 2 to 4 hours long, maybe a bit longer, but 2 to 4 hours long, what I'd expect. They can pre-record all of it or some of it, and have it really nice and sharp and concise, get more people to see it, a lot more cool clips and stuff for people to use. People have more money that would have otherwise been attending these events to spend on spaceships. They'll have an expensive digital goodies pack, but they can also sell a load more stuff. So it's a mixture of marketing and hype, and well, it's hugely marketing-driven event. They'll probably start a traditional or the proper start of Squadron 42's advertising campaign. I'll be right back. There's someone at my front door. Let me send you. I'll give you that. That's an old video. That's a test of server meshing. worry, I'm going back. I'm talking to the postman. I'll be right there. Apologies. Yeah. The magic's been restored. Don't look behind the wizard's curtain. Just pretend I was always here. Hello. Just chatting to the postman about buying stuff. I've neglected my postman over the last week. Because I've just been busy with my 40th. I'm old now. And playing board games with my mates over the last couple of weekends. Post the postman on stream. No, I'm very, I'm very reasonable about telling everyone. So my house is start with loads of security cameras. So when I will have tradesmen or whatever, like, oh, there's security camera in all these rooms. These rooms are safe for you. You're not going to be like filmed, and I stream, but just don't walk into the office. And you won't be streamed at any point or recorded on a camera, even if I'm just sort of testing something. Well, Chris, he's just making sure everything's going okay on the stream. He's more in focus than I am. Oh my god. Happy 30th. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm old now. I started covering Star Citizen when I was in my 20s. That's terrifying, isn't it? Direct CitizenCon is brilliant. Let them cook the game without having to stop and put on a show. Yeah, so there's loads of benefits to it. I am going to miss the fest element. However, there's going to be loads of watch parties and bar citizens around, and CIGSA, I believe they're going to be supporting them. Look, a day over 28. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate your lies. I'm on the edge of melting everything and buying a Praetorian back. Be interesting to see how some of this stuff evolves pack-wise. What feature are you most looking forward to? And you think we'll see this year? So is that two separate questions? So feature I'm most looking forward to this year? Probably engineering. I want engineering in game ASAP. I think it's super important for the game because then they can start to balance chips and chip systems and components in a meaningful way more permanently. Really start to build towards that. So yeah, for me, engineering. There's a load of stuff that would be really cool to have in game this year, like hacking and deeper exploration, some of the base building stuff. Loads of cool stuff. I think engineering is the most important. And I'm excited to see Nyx because I like expand gameplay area, even though the Star Citizen gameplay area is pretty massive already. Did they remove spawning from a medical ship and vehicle? Was that a bug? It's probably just bugged for you. It was working for me the other day, but I have not played over the weekend or today. I've only looked at other people talking about 4.1 hotfixes. I'm feeling pretty good today, thank you very much. I used to play the game on a 2080. Still can run it? Yeah, you should be able to. You'll have to run it like 1080p, but to run it, should run reasonably well. 2080 isn't that weak. I mean, 1080 should be able to run the game. I'm super excited to play Unsettled now that you keep on saying that. Yeah. At the moment, PC game wise, in the evenings I'm playing 7 Days to Die. And I'll make kit as well. Yeah, I think we're just about to hit day 42. There's just about to be a Horde night. So looking forward to that. I've been watching you since you were on Redacted, and I'm wondering what are your thoughts on how it feels like ignoring. How it feels like he's ignoring old money backers. We have been waiting years for our ships like the Banu. I'm wondering what your thoughts on how it feels. I'm not entirely sure of the question. So, some ships, some of the older ships, like the Banu Merchantman, the Idris is in game to a degree, right? The Orion, I'm trying to think of Banu Merchantman and the Orion are like the oldest ships of them, right? Idris, difference between 2012 and 2013, I think. So I don't feel that CIG are ignoring those ships. They'll get them in the game at some point. Do I feel like those ships should have been reprioritized? I mean, the game's not released. It is playable, and they are obviously marketing it as a much more polished project than it is. You are getting rental ships in the meantime, or not rental ships, but ships that they give to you in the meantime. Yes, I want some of these ships. Yes, it's annoying that it's going to take a while to have them in game, but those ships and the release of Star Citizen have all been delayed for many, many years. I don't see it as a betrayal of old money backers or anything personally. I see it as changing priorities, shifting priorities. People have like melt their stuff and put it into other ships. I do think that CIG should offer refunds for those ships that are beyond like beyond a decade old, like the Orion and the Banu Merchantman sort of thing, right? If people wanted them. Any idea when Star Citizen will add FSR 4 support? So we don't 100% know that they will. They probably will, but we'll see, because they're pretty hardware agnostic. They'll add stuff that's easy to add. So, Optiscaler and scaleless frame loss, whatever it's called. Lossless frame scaling. Well, there's a Steam thing as well. Lossless scaling, something like that. That are amazing for frame rates and AI frame generation, which are not. I don't believe they're whitelisted by Star Citizen. So the cheat protection will detect it and won't let you run Star Citizen with it on. So which is a little annoying, because otherwise you could get some pretty good frame rates in Star Citizen. So they will be optimizing the game significantly, and hopefully they'll support a load of cool stuff. FSR 4 would be great. When engineering drops, do you think the Crucible will come out too? I think it's unlikely. I want the Crucible in game. Give me that repair ship. But I think it's more likely you'll see the we call him Optimus Prime, Master Chief, turn up first with the repair, rearm, and refuel. Hopefully people understand what I'm talking about when I talk about that drone ship that looks like Master Chief. I want the Kraken, me too. I'm super excited for the Kraken, because I think it adds a huge amount of gameplay to the game beyond just a cool new ship. It can be a pirate base, it can be a load of mobile mission points, and there's a load of cool stuff you can do there. Be a mobile trader. It's great for rearming, repairing, and refueling as well. So imagine some of this stuff being door-based rather than breach anywhere kind of system. Yeah, but Maelstrom has a level of destructibility, so it's an interesting one. What was my... I think my first pledge might have just been an Aurora, and then I upgraded it to an Avenger. And then a 325A. And then the sort of first ship that got me super interested in Star Citizen was the Retaliator. I wanted modularity, and I was like, "Ooh, modularity and ship." I quite liked Eve at that time as well. Typically, if you're talking about graphics, Vulcan is with the K. Hashtag Aurora gang. I'm fine with Star Citizen just being door breaches and doors and turret breaching. So, yeah, doors, airlocks, where turrets are that you can blow off, stuff like that. That would make sense. But they could do it so it could be pretty much anywhere. I'm expecting Bounty Hunting 2.0 to start to come into the game probably at the start of next year, but it could start to be phased in this year because it's kind of more content driven than it is feature driven. It's just knocking people out, taking them back to the correct place, right? Planning out the missions to support that better. When do you predict the Pioneer is ready to fly? So they're working on the Pioneer now, and they'll probably work on it until it's ready. I would expect it to be in-game middle of next year. That's my rough guesstimate. Sorry if the question was vague. No, I'm fine with questions being vague because it allows me to just talk, right? That's why I want on the streams. I want people's questions to spark conversation. I say conversation, monologue. When ships are modular, then ramming a module with a breaching ship could damage just to the module. So, yeah, they have changed the way that ramming works. I want ramming to be pretty insignificant for ships, as in small ship ramming a big ship. Small ship does very little, but probably explodes, and the big ship's fine. Or they just glance off each other and do very little. That's what I sort of want from ramming. But when it goes to when you're talking about destruction and damaging of components and stuff, that's going to be super important. And yes, you'll be able to focus on sub-target systems and all that sort of jazz. Do you think we'll see an update to Caterpillar with them working on the Ironclad? So they are working on a chain of Drake ship stuff. I am expecting to see modularity in the game in the not too distant, but more supported. Talked much about it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to physicalized armor as part of the systems as well. I need my Banu merchantman. I mean, I want mine as well. I'm not a massive fan of the Banu architecture. However, on paper, Banu merchantman, with its functionality and being able to have a shop and stuff and the bazaar and being pretty big, I'm pretty excited about it. It's one of my favorite ships on paper. Functionality, as I said. Looking forward to Digital Citizen Con, 11th of October. Makes sense. Might attend a watch party, might attend a Bar Citizen, might go to ones before and after, rather than on the day. Maybe I'll work something out. Right. What do you think the new Drake ship will be? Obviously, we've had the Golem. There's a weird, like, mini or stripped down Corsair. Gonna go to that thing in Vegas. What thing in Vegas? Also, no. Yeah, see, no trains from the UK to Vegas. Did you read the CIG financials? There's a 50-page long document you can see. I'm waiting for their financial statement. They should hopefully put on the Cloud Imperium Games website at some point, and then we'll look at that and talk about the financials from my point of view, which will just be like, this is how much they've raised. It's much closer to 1 billion now than it is 800 million because of the additional funding from Cowler Brothers, incentives, tax back, sponsorships, and subscribers. Well, there's lots of random stuff that's not included. So I saw Cameron's video on that, but don't necessarily agree with their what they think with that. I watch loads of different content creators, and I think lots of them have good points on some bits and not necessarily good points in others. Yeah, I'll be digging into that myself at some point. But really, I want the CIG to release some financials first from their statements on it, because a lot of it's going to be raw data that doesn't really have context, or stuff that doesn't have context. They've had the best start of a year they've ever had. They've obviously got rid of a reasonable amount of people, got rid of streamlined down a studio, and I think they're probably on track to be very financially healthy this year, more so than they have been. But that's just the way I personally feel about it. I'll look into it properly. Do you have a perspective on how the game is being massively gamified recently? Since the last Citizen Con, lots of standard MMO off-the-shelf mechanics compared with previously Chris Roberts' approach to tech building, systemic emergent gameplay that is very sandbox and sim-like. Are we seeing the meta version of what Jared often states, make it simmy, then arcadey, then balance it? So I think there is an element of that. That a lot of the stuff they're working on is stuff that is arcadey or playable or get into the game, and they try to make some of these systems get into the game quicker and easier before the full systems are sort of fully implemented. And I think that's fine. I think that's actually fine and fair. So going the harder, potentially more interesting sim route with a lot of the stuff, where they haven't got the supporting systems, is just ridiculous, right? So I don't mind that you can respawn and get back in the action pretty quick. Although I do wish there were more systems behind being able to Zerg spawn, sort of to help prevent that. But they're working on it. It's an alpha for a reason. I think you're right. I think that they are gamifying a lot of stuff, but it is a game. They're trying to make it more playable, and more playable to them is slightly more arcadey than simmy, at least in the shorter term. Right. I'm going to dash off because I want to get the podcast out. But genuinely, thank you so much for watching. It is very appreciated. I'll have a quick look at the questions now and answer. I'll do a lightning round. Do you think they'll introduce binoculars or spotting scopes for recon? Oh, I hope so. That would make sense. I also hope that there's a ping system in game, like you have in all good games, where I can ping a target, it tells my teammates, or maybe pins that target for me, or both. Right? I want to be able to do that with ships. I want to be able to share that data. I want to do that with an FPS. I want to be able to do that with just general. Let's go over here. Hello, Trevor the Map. Thank you so much. Good app. What year is it? How are you, sir? I'm doing very well. I was just about to end the stream, but thank you so much for your donation. Genuinely appreciated, sir. The 2023 financials interesting, but that's just the ones they posted on the, their official postings, I suppose, on the Company's House website. Zin does a law video every week, typically. Every Sunday is normally when I release them. But I'd hope to see binoculars in game, yeah. Boom. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Genuinely appreciated. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's see who else is there. Send you over to someone. Oh no, what am I doing? No, there's this guy.
Y'all see that?
Because it's on the other side of the world.
Oh. Over to this. Oh, he's playing stuff. don't know if he likes it or not. Go to him. Enjoying it. Maybe he's not. I don't know. You can say hello. Boom. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciated. Hope you have a great rest of your April. We'll have a podcast talking about a load of different stuff with this in on Star Citizen out in a bit. And yeah, thanks for being here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Love, love.